Welcome to the show. I'm glad you came on. It's wonderful to have you. I wanted to start by talking about where you started, right? Because you started as a dancer, as an actor, and maybe you can give a little summation of how you started and how you moved to a new art form.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, excited to talk about my journey as a filmmaker. So, yes, as you mentioned, my sort of doorway into the performing arts was through dance. I started dancing from an early age and I went to performing arts high school and was just always very involved in choreographing and performing and just really specifically loved dance, using my body to tell a story, to express an emotion or a feeling. I love the collaborative nature of choreography and just interpreting music in a way that shares it with a broader audience. So that was my background. And then when I went to college, I really sort of branched out and started to shift my focus more towards acting. I never fully left dance behind. It's still to this day a passion of mine, but really my focus had shifted to acting, specifically in the theater, and later on that sort of opened up to film as well. So that was really my introduction to the arts. And when I graduated from college, I had majored in acting in college. And I was part of a musical theater program, and the musical theater program had dance and acting and singing. So, I sort of was doing all three all through college. And so, like many other people, when I graduated with my degree, Broadway didn't happen right away, Hollywood didn't happen right away. So, as I continued to hone my craft and do, smaller scale projects, along the way, I also decided that another way to grow as an artist and to open doors for myself as an artist and for my friends was to start creating my own projects. Rather than waiting for the phone to ring and waiting for someone to give me the role of a lifetime. I sort of figured, well, why not create that for myself? Why do I have to wait around and get permission for someone? So there was that, and as a woman and as a woman of color, I also felt passionately that there were very limited amounts of opportunities for artists such as myself. And then the few that came along, were just not really, I guess, characters that I was interested in portraying, and sort of characters that perpetuated stereotypes about Latino women and, not really the robust characters that I really wanted to delve into and explore either through theater or film. So really all of these things kind of came together and led to me creating, my own projects and becoming an independent filmmaker. And I was living in Harlem at the time, and Lee Daniels also was in Harlem at that time. And just the universe sort of conspired to lead me to start working for him. And this was during the time that he was making the movie Precious, which was a very impactful film and went on to do very well. But for me, that was definitely a time of learning. I got to really be on a professional film set for the first time and really learn a lot about, the production process. And I was with them as they went, to Sundance and, was able to sort of see firsthand how the business, I guess, of filming, of film festivals and film distribution works. So that was a real time of growth for me as an artist because I learned so much. And so then after that, I sort of took all that I learned and I decided to do it on my own and see what I could do and if I could do the same thing. So I'd been working on a script for some time. Actually, this is all for Millie and the Lords, which I'm leading up to. But I'd been working on this script for many years and had lots of writing consultations with consultants and script doctors and after we had, I guess, reviewed it and rewritten it, we kind of finally felt like it was in a place where it's like, oh, okay, this is a solid script, it's ready to go. And at that point, we just started, the fundraising process, which is, a big part of every filmmaker's journey. And it's always one of the hardest parts, of course, being an unknown. It's like people are less likely to just write you a check. So, we began the long process of fundraising. We applied for grants and we got a few grants, and we did a lot of online fundraising as well using Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And we also had several in-person fundraising events. My circle is actors and dancers and singers, so they were all willing to come in and offer their performances free of charge. And we got some local restaurants and bakeries to donate some food. And we basically had these events where people paid $5 or $10 to come in, and we were able to raise a significant amount of funds towards the project that way. So all of that, having been done, we finally were in a place where we had the funds to at least, to get through production. Post-production was a whole different story, but we did finally raise enough to get it in the can. And so, we shot over the course of 2.5 weeks, and it was really exciting for me. It was my first time in the director's chair, and I just kind of felt like, coming from an acting background, it was a natural fit. It was a natural next step. I feel like I speak actors' language. I know how they're feeling. I know what their insecurities are, and I was able to sort of connect with them and guide them in the right way. And so it was a really wonderful experience. We had the best casting directors working with us, who helped us find really strong actors. And it was just really great, really, really great. And, production is always stressful, especially independent film production, because you're on such a time constraint and such a budget constraint. You don't really have time for accidents or mishaps, but, all in all, it was a positive experience, and we were able to get it done. And we were just really successful. So we were really happy with that. And then after that came the long process of post-production. We had to color correct and hire an editor and hire a sound composer and all of those things, which of course cost additional funds. So I ended up getting a full-time job, and I'm married, thankfully, to this wonderful, supportive guy who supports my creative efforts. And I was able to use the majority of my salary, to the costs of post-production, while he sort of held down the fort on the home front financially. So I was able to do that. And finally, after I think it took about 6 months, the film was in a good place, and we had picture lock and everything was great. So we started the whole film festival circuit, as many filmmakers know that journey. And of course, we had reached for the big ones like South by and Sundance and all of that. But we were really finding success with the regional, smaller festivals, specifically festivals that had an interest in Latino films and Latino filmmakers. So we did Philadelphia Latino Film Festival, Georgia Latino Film Festival, New York Latino Film Festival, and Harlem Film Festival, a whole bunch of them, and it was really, really wonderful to have that experience. And it was kind of crazy because at the same time we were in the film festival circuit, I had just given birth to my son. So it's like, if you look at all these pictures, you see pictures of me, promoting, but I'm also carrying like a 2-month-old baby.
So you gave birth to your film and your son at the same basically
Exactly.
time. You're
Exactly.
insane. You are
Yeah,
insane.
it was very insane. That's a perfect word. Actually, in retrospect, I'm not sure how I got through that, but I guess the adrenaline from staying up all night with an infant. But yeah, we did somehow get through it, and it was really, really fun, and exhausting but exhilarating. And yeah, at the end of the circuit, we ended up selling it to HBO, and we signed an 18-month, I believe, 18-month contract. And then at the same time, we were also taking the film to universities and colleges, because the film does have such a strong educational component. A lot of professors and faculty were interested in including it in their syllabi, for Puerto Rican history studies or Latin American studies. So that was a whole journey, and that was my experience with my first film. And I do still act. I go on auditions all the time, and I do a lot of theater. So as opportunities arise, I do still act, but I also am a filmmaker because I kind of feel like it's a way to stay creative and active in the business in those valleys when there's not much else going on. And those valleys can be a dangerous place because that's when the censor takes over, and that's when like the voice of doubt and insecurity starts, coming in. And the only way, those things will never go away. I think that they're part of life, but the only way to navigate that and to fight back is to stay active, and so to that end, I'm always trying to create new projects or maybe support and participate in other projects so that, those negative voices are shushed.